This is Terry Kurtz On-Line reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history.
But let's talk about some positive stuff. There's some really good stuff happening.
That's how our last report ended. In this interview, Joseph W. Brady details lots of positives, specifically local projects underway in commercial and industrial development.
He says, I think we're going to have the greatest amount of growth that we've ever seen here based on what we're seeing. So let's talk about some reality. Well, Brightline's come along. We've actually talked about this quite a few times. But I will tell you, we've gotten to know the people in Brightline real well, and I'm real impressed. They are spot on. They are on schedule. They're not going to float any bonds this year. They're going to float them early part of next year. They bought the 264 acres at the southeast corner of Dale Evans and I-15. Bought and paid for $10 million, and that deal's done. They have recently bought 110 acres on the Strip in Las Vegas, not far from where the Raiders Stadium is, Allegiant Stadium is. They paid $140 million for it. That's a done deal. The original plan was to go from Apple Valley to Las Vegas, and someday there was going to be maybe the segment from Apple Valley to maybe Ranch Cucamonga. I'd be willing to bet that in 5 years you'll be going from Apple Valley to Ranch Cucamonga in the morning for work. I imagine there'll probably be a substation somewhere in Hesperia for just a logical standpoint, and that you'll get off at the Metrolink station in Ranch Cucamonga, and you'll go downstairs and you'll get into a tube, and that tube will take you, via Tesla. The founder of Tesla is doing it to the Ontario Airport. I absolutely think it's real. The people behind this, there's no hype. There's no you don't sense any BS with it. Recently, we put John O'Haney in with Tapestry together with their director of governmental affairs, Greta Seafield. Tapestry is a 30-year project, $7 billion. I think that with what Brightline's doing, that it really could be a 22 to 23-year project. I think it would speed up, because I think what will happen is the absorption will speed up as the price of housing just continues to rise. So I think it's a win-win for Brightline. It's great for Tapestry. Tapestry is just waiting to get their permit, I think, from Fish and Wildlife on the Joshua Tree issue. They've got that resolved and apparently paid for. I know their grading should start within 60 days, and they'll move 10 million cubic yards. They were really hoping to have the model complex open for 6 national builders. So they have already picked the 6 national builders. They know the product types that they'll require. They'll grade 21. They'll move 10 million cubic yards. They'll put all the infrastructure in the water, the sewer, the backbone, the double purple pipe. They'll all have double purple pipe. All the homes will be drought tolerant. They'll have a big park, community center, all that. They were hoping to open up Super Bowl Sunday 2023. That might be delayed. I mean, John's really optimistic. He's also realistic, and I think that that's what they're gunning for. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to have some really good, fun announcements here in the upcoming months when they really kick this thing off. We're going to help him work with all the local media, because there's a lot of small media up there. We got the big media, the Sun, the Daily Press, and Victor Valley News Group, and those guys. But it's going to be a first-class experience for anybody that moves into it. I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to probably buying something down there ourselves, so we have a place to come to all the time as we continue to do business on that here. So Terry, the market is real. The industrial guys are back. You look at the walls that are tilted up there on I-15. You and I went on out there. They hope to have that building wrapped up by January. They've had a problem just in the global supply chain with the steel that goes on the roof. Otherwise, they would be done by, I think, November. Ken Shear and his partner Mark Malikowicz with Covington, they have 2 more deals that are right in the pipeline. And Ken told me last Friday night, he said, Joe, I think you'll see 2 more buildings completed within the next 16 to 17 months on the other 2. So now imagine you're coming down I-15, you're going north, and then eventually with the Brightline train is going to be in the middle of the freeway. So the acquisition issue is over. They're working very cooperatively. So this is what's great. You've got a private sector company working well with Caltrans and San Bernardino County Transportation Authority and everybody else that's involved. So when government and the private sector do want to work together, it happens. And I think it's really exciting. I think everybody up here benefits, and it's a win-win. I mean, Amazon's coming. The Amazon, I don't know if anybody's seen it, the Amazon distribution facility, 120,000 square feet over on Balsam, used to be the old Walmart. Okay, that is now done. If you go down Bear Valley Road and you just pass Boston, you look over, you go, what? It's a gorgeous looking building. They've improved the 9 acres behind that. It used to be the old drive-in. There's just some great things happening up here. I think that it's a time for everybody to enjoy it. I'll tell you the one question, Terry, that we get asked is, where are we in the housing cycle?
Where we are in the housing cycle on an upcoming report. Thank you for joining us this time around. Kenyard Edwards Jr. rushes for 313 yards. In the Victor Valley College home opener, that's among the top single-game rushing totals in Rams history. But the former Apple Valley Sun Devils superstar's electrifying performance falls 1 yard shy of victory as Glendale holds on to defeat VVC 34-30. We say 1 yard shy because Victor Valley College fails to score from 1 yard out in the final 90 seconds of the game. The Rams fumbling away the game-winning touchdown opportunity that began with a 1st and goal at the ones. Glendale snatching victory from the jaws of defeat thanks to VVC's self-inflicted decisive miscue. Despite the outcome, Rams first-year coach Artie Allen is proud of his team's tenacity. On defense, the Rams twice denied Glendale scoring opportunities on 4th and goal at the 1. And Kenyard Edwards Jr.'s exceptional exploits show so much promise for offensive production by the Rams in upcoming encounters. The first remarkable goal line stand comes in the game's opening stages. Glendale marches to the Rams' red zone on their opening drive before the Rams' defense stiffens. 7, losing his helmet, Marquise Cato, 5'9", 170-pound safety out of Apple Valley. 44, Logan Soriano, 5'10", 255-pound sophomore linebacker out of Riverside Prep. 2nd and goal, 17, Deshaun Griffin and Keyshawn Wilson, 5, penetrate. Jordan Payne, 58, there to halt the play for no gain. Michael Barnett's touchdown-saving tackle, upending the pass receiver at the 1, sets up the initial 4th and goal from the 1, steadfast stand by the Rams. Watch 44, Logan Soriano, penetrating, pursuing, and pounding down the ball carrier for a loss. The Rams defense has done its job. White-capped Artie Allen and his fellow coaches congratulating his defenders and applauding their accomplishment. But how can the offense move from under the shadow of their own goalpost? Shamar Smith, 80, and center Chris Torres, 76, lead the way. Kenyard Edwards Jr., the first of 40 carries this game. The 5'10", Kenyard Edwards Jr. is listed at 175 pounds. Okay. Straight up the gut on 2nd down, 4 more yards to the 9. 77, Ruben Savaria, 6'2", 318-pound sophomore from Redlands. Chris Torres, the former Oak Hills All-MRL lineman, 6'3", 358, he's a freshman. And now we get to see what makes Kenyard Edwards Jr. so extraordinary. Quick to and through the hole, even quicker to the outside and cutting upfield. Then superlative speed, simply outrunning the Glendale secondary, 91 yards. Longest run from scrimmage this veteran video journalist can recall in all my seasons covering Rams football. 7-0 Rams, 5 minutes in. Glendale retaliates with a sustained drive, punching it in from 2 yards out, and it is tied at 7. 5 minutes remain in the opening quarter. On the first play, on their next possession, Glendale connects on a 48-yard touchdown pass to take the lead. It's 14-7. The Rams effectively mix the pass with the rush on their next possession. Casey Moore to Alex Gonzalez for the first down to midfield. 3 straight Kenyon Edwards Jr. carries on what is becoming the Rams' bread and butter play. The final 22 yards to the end zone, the second touchdown of the game for the freshman running back. The Rams turn it over on a fumble receiving a punt, and Glendale turns the turnover into 6 points on the touchdown pass from 7 yards out. The Rams block the extra point attempt. Glendale's lead is 20-13. Glendale adds a 4th touchdown in the second quarter, capping a time-consuming drive with the 9-yard touchdown pass. It is 27-13 with 5 minutes to play before halftime. The Rams' plan of attack zooms in on mixing the pass with the run. Alex Gonzalez on the quick out from K.C. Moore. Alex Gonzalez, the former Granite Hills Cougar. LaShawn Potts picks up 20. LaShawn Potts, the leading Rams pass receiver coming into this game. He is 6'3", 195. He's from Upland. Back to the ground game from the 11. Kenyon Edwards Jr. beats the cornerback to the sidelines, cuts upfield, and dives to extend the football to the pylon. 6 points Rams on Kenyon Edwards Jr.'s 3rd touchdown of the game. Victor Valley College pulls within 7, 27-20, with 2 minutes showing on the second quarter clock. Glendale drives the length of the field trying to beat the clock, but Victor Valley College turns in its second goal line stand, denying the Vaqueros on 4th and goal at the 1. 70 is Gabe Soddy Jr., the 6'3", 240-pound sophomore and team captain. He is a former Sun Devils teammate of Kenyon Edwards Jr. in their playing days at Apple Valley. Kenyon Edwards Jr. explodes for another huge gain on this, the final play of the first half. Glendale's lead at the half is 27-20. The Rams' passing attack brings them from deep in their own territory all the way to Glendale's red zone in short order to start the third quarter. K.C. Moore to Hosea Stokes to midfield. Hosea Stokes, the former Adelanto Saint. Then K.C. Moore to LaShawn Potts, and the Rams are down to the Vaqueros' 11. Following 2 running plays, it is 3rd and 7 at the 8. Glendale sacks the Rams quarterback, and Victor Valley College brings on the field goal team. Carlos Garcia, the former Serrano Diamondback, drives it through the uprights, and the Rams are within 4, 27-23. VVC fails to catch a break when Darius Gibson sacks Glendale's quarterback, creating the fumble, but officials rule it an incomplete pass. If so, intentionally grounding maybe should have been the call. Damian Diaz falling on the ball. Lots of high desert talent in action on this play. Damian Diaz, former Victor Valley Jackrabbit. Darius Gibson, who created the almost a fumble, another former Adelanto Saint. The Rams make no doubt about the turnover on the very next play. Former Saint Keyshawn Wilson camps under the pass attempt and picks it off. VVC ball back at the Glendale 40. 2 plays later, Kenyon Edwards Jr. cutting back, doing a half gainer to pick up the first down at the 18. Next play, K.C. Moore pitches it to Aiden Marquez. The former Sultana Sultan leaves the defender in his tracks, racing untouched to the end zone. First touchdown pass of the season for the sophomore quarterback, K.C. Moore. He is out of Spring Valley High School in Las Vegas. The Rams regain the lead 30-27 with 1:20 to play in the third quarter. Is this young Rams team fired up? Deshaun Griffin, the tackle for a loss. First play on Glendale's ensuing possession. And 3 plays later, on the first play of the fourth quarter, Mac Miller intercepts, and Victor Valley College has it back with momentum having swung totally in favor of the home team Rams. Unfortunately, momentum does not translate into offensive productivity, though. It is 3 and out VVC. The teams exchange 3 punts. The exchanges benefit the visitors, and we pick it up with Glendale threatening. It is 3rd and 2 at the 12. What proves to be the game-winning touchdown is scored on the run up the middle. Glendale back on top, 34-30. Just under 6 minutes left to play. Victor Valley College begins this possession 76 yards from the Vaqueros' end zone. The 30-yard completion, K.C. Moore to LaShawn Potts, and the Rams are knocking at the Glendale red zone. Kenyard Edwards Jr. breaks the red zone barrier and carries to the 13. This, an 11-yard gain. Now we see down and distance on the Julian Weaver Stadium scoreboard, as well as the time remaining. Kenyard Edwards Jr. +9 to the 4. With it 2nd and 4, Kenyard Edwards Jr. is spun down after a pickup of 3. It brings up 3rd and 1. The Rams need to get to the 3 for a first down. 3rd and 1 needed for a first down. Kenyard Edwards Jr. carries tacklers with him down to the 1. Glendale calls timeout, hoping to regroup. Rams back out and over the ball. 1st and goal from the 1. The cameraman follows Kenyard Edwards Jr., missing whether a handoff was faked to him or whether the ball is lost on an attempted exchange. We do know the ball winds up on the ground. Glendale recovers and the ball game ends with Glendale winning 34-30. For the Rams, it is recover, regroup, and be back on this field the following Saturday to take on L.A. Pierce.
Griner brings you this Victor Valley College Online Sports Report. Griner Buick GMC in Victorville, proudly supporting VVC teams and athletes. Griner has the best damn used cars, period. Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activities. Your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV. 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon. Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. When does post-trauma end for a survivor of sexual abuse? Never. The message sounded loud and clear by Inger Robertson, keynote speaker at the annual Our Children Project fundraising luncheon. Inger Robertson dispels many myths and misconceptions about victims of sexual abuse. Today's director of A Better Way, the domestic violence shelter in Victorville, is a survivor who first experienced abuse at age 5.
There was this perfect storm that happened.
Explaining that if we don't do intervention early, just what kind of things can transpire and what a difference early intervention can make in this topic, because for a long time people just said, oh, kids will get over this, and not deal with it right away.
Do not tell me I can't be angry. I am not going to allow anybody to tell me that again. And you go right back in that house. And he says, I would. But there is no denying that my life changed after that. People have things still locked up inside of them. And it makes all the difference when you acknowledge it and get through it in a healthier way. At the same time, it is the reality. And all of these things, I was told I couldn't be angry about what happened to me. And I've worked with other women that they were told they couldn't cry. And what's been interesting is whatever the thing is that you were told you couldn't do is the very thing that you probably needed to do. And when some of the women who were told, you can't cry about this, once they started, they looked and they're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to stop. It's like, just go, just do it. And for me, say hello to my friend. There had been so much rage bottled up inside of me.
The Our Children Foundation is something that I've heard about because I'm a domestic violence executive director with A Better Way. It is one of the partnerships, but it's also very much linked. A lot of times, in my 30 years of walking beside people that have been through abuse, whether in childhood or not, I would say there's only been about 5 that couldn't say that they had anything of childhood sexual abuse in their background.
And you were such a victim.
Correct.
How difficult was it originally to address it, to come out and talk about it?
It was pretty much told I had to suppress it, and a lot of that had a lot of ramifications, which I'll be talking about today, and the difference that just being in a room knowing you're not the only person can make for such little ones.
When you are, or a lot of children that are in the single-digit ages, if they're singled out, we always hear about fight and flight. But there's 3 F's to the responses that people can have, and the third one is freeze. And when you're a child, and you're very, very aware that your entire existence is about all these adults around you, all these perceived adults, even if they're teenagers, you freeze. It's not like you're a teenager who has friends and you can run away and all this other stuff. You just freeze. Well, some of these things will follow someone into their adulthood. So as I became an adult, if someone was confrontational and other stuff, I learned to freeze. That was my first experience. So these are strategies that I took on that followed me into adulthood because I didn't have support or help or ways of coping with it in the early days. I am so glad we are past that time period where we don't talk about it. I am so glad we now understand that myth about, oh, they're so young, they'll never even remember. Because now we know trauma burns itself in your brain. This particular organization holds a deep part in my heart because of my own story. That's why I'm here. Art has also been very therapeutic for me through the years. But this right here is a piece that speaks to what happens when a child is left alone to try to figure out how to place all these pieces together when you have been sexually molested. But the program that we're here to talk and celebrate and support today, parents are involved, the children are involved, and so is the offender. And I always wonder if someone had just taken time to take this teenager by the ear and sit him down and go, curiosity's okay. This is not. And then spend some time, would it have made a difference? And we have something in our own community that deals with all sides of this from the very beginning. So they don't have to go through all of this journey. As with anything, if you're a believer, it can be redeemed. I'm reintegrated. The little girl in me did grow up. I now have boundaries, and I know what they are. And the scars are golden because you can share them and let people know that life can be different. But if we can get that sooner for these kids, that's everything. Thank you for your time.
The Our Children Project responds to the needs of sexually abused children, providing counseling to the children and their families.
It is the only program of its kind in the high desert. Highlights and headline makers this date in high desert entertainment and sports history. Silverado's all-CIF quarterback, VBC's all-conference bulldozer of a fullback, and a former Scorpion Diamondback and VBC Rams kicker named All-American. From the entertainment archives, colorful characters and lovely ladies in the Tales of the Frontier episode, Redemption. This edition of Community Table Restaurant Headline Makers and Big Play Game Breakers includes VBC's Powerball fullback,
Silverado's all-CIF quarterback, Apple Valley's leading running back, and Division I collegiate honors for a former Victor Valley College kicker. Sean White rushes for 170 yards and scores the game-winning touchdown in the Victor Valley College Rams' 24-21 victory over West Los Angeles. Levi Taylor throws for 307 yards and 3 touchdowns in Silverado's 44-6 win over the Hesperia Scorpions. 23 TD passes in 5 games for the Hawks' all-CIF quarterback. Donovan Ferguson carries for 192 yards and scores 3 touchdowns in Apple Valley's 77-0 thumping of Adelanto. Former Hesperia and Serrano High School and Victor Valley College kicker Austin Williams is setting Division I collegiate records his sophomore year at the University of West Florida. Austin Williams was named the Gulf South Conference Special Teams Player of the Week after he made a school record 4 field goals and tied the NCAA and conference single-game high for the season in the Argonauts' win against Valdosta State. The 20-year-old finished 4 of 5 on field goal attempts while setting the school records with a 41-yarder, also the longest in the Gulf South Conference this year. Austin Williams set Hesperia school records in passing and kicking through his junior year.
I want to take my game to the next level because I want to get my bachelor's degree in political science and go straight to a 4-year university, and I see football as a great avenue to take me there and achieve that goal. My top 3 strengths are my ability to thrive under pressure, my work ethic, and just to be a part of the team and be a great teammate.
Austin Williams quarterbacked and kicked at Serrano his senior season, the Diamondbacks in the CIF championship game. He was the all-conference kicker his freshman season at Victor Valley College last year. Leroy McAllister is back. Tales of the Frontier. Redemption. Director Tino Luciano brings back the notorious gunfighter and summons his biggest cast yet. More gunfights, more shootouts, bigger blasts, more 6-gun showdowns in the street. Redemption, an episode with more twists than a sidewinder swim in the Rio Grande snarled up in barbed wire. Beautiful ladies of the Old West. More beautiful ladies. Lots more beautiful ladies. Previous episode cast members, combining with some of the most creative young minds in television production today. Tales of the Frontier, Redemption, a Law Dog production. Family television entertainment. Flashing back to headline makers years past in high desert Mojave River Valley history, served up and delivered by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favorite destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports activities. Your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV. 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon.
What time is it, sports fan? It's time for your High Desert Sports Report.
Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. Terry Kurtz On-Line was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road.
So.
Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Griner, Buick GMC in Victorville. Griner has the best damn used cars, period. Howard's, supporting and promoting the schools and civic programs throughout our high desert. Valu Quality Truck Body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. And by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley.